Hello, everybody. How are you doing? This is the S. Anthony Thomas. This is the S. Anthony Says podcast. And folks, I want to talk to you about something I talked to a good friend of mine about a few years ago. And it kind of came up in a conversation again. And I wanted to talk to you guys about it. Maybe you could tell me how you feel about it. He asked me, he said, what would you rather have? Fame or money? Fame or money? I said, why can't I have both? And I said, well, he said, in this case, I want to find out which one is more important to you, right? And he asked a couple of other friends about it. And some of them, oh man, I want the fame. And sometimes you think you want the fame because you think that the fame's going to lead to money. And maybe at a certain point it did, but nowadays it doesn't necessarily lead to money. Fame could lead to a lot of bad things happening, right? You see it on YouTube and somebody becomes YouTube famous, right? And it's that part of time where they're famous on YouTube because some things went viral, but they haven't started making money yet. The money hasn't come in yet. And now all of a sudden there's a whole bunch of people who know who they are. And whenever you're flying up in the air and you got your wings flapping and you're starting to fly up and you're out there and everybody notices you, oh, you know what comes next. The haters come and the contrarians come and the trolls come. You've seen people that have gotten swatted on YouTube where somebody calls the SWAT team and says there's a hostage situation. This guy's got 50 guns and 16 bombs and all of that crap. And all of a sudden the police bust into your house. You can almost get killed. Why? Because people know who you are, but you don't have the money yet. You haven't moved to a secure location yet. You haven't moved to a gated community yet. You haven't moved. You're where people who are trolls can get to you. You got fame, but you don't have money. Now, when I was asked about this, I said, you know what? I'd much rather have the money. Why is that? I said, because it's kind of cool if you have money and people really don't know how much money you have. And I've seen that personally. I lived in Hollywood during the 90s and I saw a whole bunch of people that had fame and it was all horrible to them. Every time they went someplace, everybody was all up on them. Everybody wanted something from them. Everybody wanted some money. There were people that wanted to get it on with them and then they would get it on with the people and then find out that the people that got it on with them were setting them up. I know a guy, right? And I told him, I said, dude, you do not want to do that because I have been asked so many times when a lady will walk up and she's flirting all with you, he. They're like, yeah, girl, we good. And she's like, hey, and you're like, yeah, girl, how about we go, right? And then some guy walks up and you're like, oh, is this guy gonna try to cut in on this? That's her husband. And she didn't tell you she was married, right? And then the guy goes, you know, we both think you're a brilliant comedian. We love your show. We really do. And you're sitting there going, dang, man, I'm glad. And you're trying to look happy because you're happy that you have two people that love your show and they paid to see you and they had a great time. So you go, you know, all right, man, you know, maybe she's just a flirty person. And then the guy goes, my wife really likes you. I go, oh, that's really, really nice. I mean, no, man, she really, really likes you. She thinks you're cute. Well, thanks a lot. I really appreciate that. Yeah. It's Anthony. We were wondering if, you know, I mean, we were in the same hotel here, right here. You know, we just go up in the elevator. You know, I was wondering if you, would like to be with my wife. And I don't know how to answer this question because I do want to be with his wife, but I didn't know that she was his wife at the time. I just thought she was a really, really hot woman. And I, wanted to give it a good business. But then I realized that she's married. So I was like, I don't touch married women or anything like that. But he's like, cause my wife really, really wants to, and he's really graphic about what he wanted me to do to his wife, which unbeknownst to him was nothing compared to what I really would have done to his wife. Cause he thinks he's being freaky. And I'm like, you have no idea, buddy. But I didn't tell him that. Would you like to go upstairs? I said, okay. And where will you be? Oh, I'll be right there. I'm like, yeah, that's a deal breaker. He goes, no. I'm not going to touch you or nothing. I'm going to be standing in the closet. Huh? Yeah. You lay her down like she's yours. I mean, seriously, man. Tear it up, wear her ass out, blow her back out. He's using sex terms like he's trying to blow her back out, give it to her good, pound her, buddy. And I'm like, and you'll be in the closet. I'll be in the closet looking through the slats. And what will you be doing? I'm taking care of myself. I like watching my wife get pounded out. Love it. Just give her, just drill her. He's using all these stupid terms. Pound her, destroy her, rip her up, destroy her, crush her. And I'm looking at him like, what the heck is there? I'm sitting there going, aren't there any kind of more, non-violent ways you could describe having sex with your wife? He's like, drop a bomb in her. I'm like, what is this crap, right? Kind of sicko is this guy? So we're in the elevator. I wanted her bad, right? And I was not in the elevator. Nothing happened. I definitely didn't give his wife the good business 5 or 6 times. Moving on. I'm just kidding. I didn't do anything. I got rid of him because, that happens more times than you think. You know how many times that has happened to me? And each time I'm like, nah, I got a girlfriend because last thing I need to do is, you be in the closet looking through the slats and I do some stuff to your wife and you hear some sounds you ain't never heard before. And you be like, what the heck is this mess? You ain't never made them sounds for me. Hell no. I knew this was going to happen. That's why I have this baseball bat with nails in it. And these other 2 dudes were hiding in the closet, getting it on with themselves, watching you nail my wife. And now we going to beat your ass. Or, you know what? That drink you just drank? Yeah. Are you getting dizzy now? Honey, bend him over. And not to make light of this because that is a horrible thing. And I was afraid something like that might happen. You know how many, you always hear those stories about people waking up without their kidneys and stuff, right? Hell no. I don't want to be sexually assaulted or get my head blown off because he's mad I'm giving his wife the business better than he gave her the business. Hell no. So every time, all 215 times I've been asked to do that, I said no. Cause I'm like, heck no. I've told you guys too much. Moving on. So like I said, being famous, you get in these weird situations, right? People are all up in your business. But with the money, people don't really know how much money you have. I don't know how much money you have. Like I said, I lived in LA in the 90s and I would run across people and there was something different about the people. They had a little bit too much confidence, not in an arrogant way, but just the kind of confidence that you going, well, why is this guy or this gal so daggone confident? Why? And you'll be surprised how much confidence just knowing you have enough money to do pretty much whatever you want, you actually have. You know what? Just think about this. Remember back when you were just completely broke, right? Maybe you're broke now and this is something that's going to happen to you in the future. But when you're completely broke, man, and just little things annoy you. You go to the store and the soda costs 50 cents more than you thought. What? Right? And under normal circumstances, if you're making a good living, that's not a big deal. But that 50 cents is like, oh, because when you got $4 in your wallet and you got to break that, oh, now you got $2 and some change, oh, and it feels bad. You ever had a 20 in your wallet and you're doing everything in your power not to break your last 20? You got 4 $1 bills in there. You got a $5 and $3. You're doing, I'm not going to spend more than $8 this week. I'm just not going to do. Oh, you look at your gas tank and you realize you got to put $10 in the gas tank. Oh, and you feel that $10. You feel it because it changes things not to have that $10. Oh no. But when you have the money, you just don't give a crap. Right? I remember when I was just starting to do comedy, had no money. I was hanging out with some comics. It was a comic who, I'm not going to mention his name, but he became a big deal in TV. And I was still a teenager when he became famous. And we weren't friends or anything, but when comics work in the same place, we tend to hang out with each other. And like the headliner, who's the big time comic. Well, sometimes, if you're a lesser comic on the show, meaning making less money, they hang, I'll take care of that. They'll buy you lunch or whatever. And I was just a punk ass kid at the time. So this guy was like making it a point. Oh, you hang with me, kid. I'll show you the ropes, kid. And that whole week at that club, he would not let me pay for crap. It was like my dad was on the show, right? So we go to one of these Best Buy type stores. It wasn't Best Buy, but another store. I forgot what it was called. And we go into the store and I'm looking around at the electronics. I'm like, oh, this stuff is great and incredible and double incredible. This guy literally on a whim bought a computer, a television, and a whole bunch of other crap. He just went in to look at stuff and was like, oh, okay, that's only a few $1,000s, no problem. And he bought the crap and had it shipped to his home and where he's living. An impulse buy. So if he had enough money to buy a daggone computer as an impulse buy and buy a dang TV and all this other crap as an impulse buy, how much money was this guy making? And no wonder he was so confident. When you can do that, oh, nothing bothers you. Even to a lesser extent, think about yourself, right? Think about the first time you get a raise on a job, or if you're a teenager, all of a sudden you go from working the cash register to assistant shift manager. Ooh, lifestyle change, right? Remember when you were a kid, you didn't have any money. Why? Because you're a daggone kid. But all of a sudden Christmas comes around and not only did you get that one toy you liked, your aunt, your uncle, your grandma, your grandfather, some of your older cousins, everybody threw you $10 or $20 a piece. And all of a sudden you went from having your little punk $5 or $6 or $10 allowance, if you got allowance. Now all of a sudden you're sitting on your bed looking at $250. You feel like a freaking Rockefeller. All of a sudden you're walking around with a monocle on and a top hat. Mother dear, I would love a bowl of cornflakes if you don't mind, I would like some fruit cocktail, a little bit of sugar on the cornflakes, Mom. Mother dear, if you don't mind, not only would I like the regular 2% milk on my cereal, but if you don't mind, and if it's an imposition on my part, I will give you the money to replace it. I would like you to have a little of that canned milk. Pop open the canned milk and pour a little of the canned milk on top of my cereal. I enjoy the new flavor mixture. Cause you feel like you got $1 billion cause your punk ass kid ass now got $250 when you used to only having at most $6-7 in your wallet. So when I have to, decide between the two from a personal standpoint, would I like to be famous? Sure. But I would not like to be the kind of famous that I don't want to be Prince, Michael Jackson, Eddie Murphy, Dave Chappelle famous. I don't necessarily need that. If it happens, believe me, just know I wasn't shooting for it. It just happened. It was a side effect of whatever I was doing at the time, because I, as a comedian, as a writer, as a podcaster, I need to be able to live my life, do my thing, gather experiences so I have something to talk about. I don't want to be one of those dudes or ladies that literally just can't go outside. They can't go to the corner store. They can't do anything. Every time they go outside, if they bite a hamburger, they have to open their mouth wide to open up a hamburger. All of a sudden, there's dudes on porno sites putting genitals where the hamburger was, right? And now we got deep fakes, and all of a sudden, you see people who have a squeaky clean image, and all of a sudden, you see them do all sorts of gross stuff with a whole bunch of people at the same time. They got them deep faked into orgies and stuff, right? I remember there was a deep fake of me in a hotel room giving this guy's wife the good business, and he's in the closet looking out going, give it to her. Oh, I wish I could give it to her like that. Because if you see that in the future, that's definitely a deep fake. It's definitely not me working this guy's wife like a summer job, because that didn't happen. Moving on. F y'all, don't judge me. Didn't happen at all. Moving on. So I was wondering, would you rather have fame or money? Keep in mind, in this thought experiment, you can't have both. You can only have one. Remember, in this experiment, you get the fame. The money comes much later, but you get the fame. And nowadays, it can actually happen. All you got to do is put something on TikTok. You see the positive stories. Frank Johnson goes on TikTok and chews gum and blows the bubbles in the form of Mickey Mouse. And all of a sudden, he's got 16 developing deals with Double Fox and Quadruple Disney. And he got his contract for $16 billion. And how about the hell? Right? But sometimes the fame doesn't work out in your behalf. But the money, ooh, give me the money. Ooh, give me the money. So what exactly would you choose? The fame or the money? I'm curious. Because now you know which one I'd pick. You dig? Okay, folks, that has been this episode of the S. Anthony Says podcast. Look, my friends, I want to thank you guys very, very much. I want to thank you guys literally for putting up with me not being able to do an episode last week. I had something I had to take care of, and it took so long. Oh my goodness, I can't even tell you what it is because it involved someone else. I was helping out someone else with some stuff, but it took so frigging long that I was like, there's no way in the world I'm going to be able to get a podcast out on that particular Monday. And then as it turned out, the crap took all week. And I just want to say right now to the person that's listening, you owe me big, punk. Yeah. You made me miss 3 podcasts. I do this podcast on Monday, and I do my other podcast, the S. Anthony Thomas Show, on Wednesdays and Fridays. And I didn't get to do any of those podcasts because of you, punk. Oh, yeah. You don't think me helping your punk ass out, which took a whole week, you think you can do something to even up from that? Oh, hell no, punk. I own you, punk. Oh, you owe me big, sucker. And I'm not going to ask for anything back in return. Oh, no, I'm just going to be regular old S. Anthony Thomas, your buddy. Oh, yeah. But just remember, this was a huge favor. I was a huge help. And the sword of Damocles hangs above your head. Even though I should not use that imagery because that's kind of a violent imagery. And I would, obviously I would never do anything violent to you. We're good buddies, but just know, punk, that you owe me huge. And I'm not the kind of person that has any kind of lifestyle choices or makes decisions dumb enough where you'd actually ever be able to repay me. Oh, and I'm only 52 years old, roughly the same age as you. And I'm in pretty good health and losing the weight, which means for the next 40 years, sucker, I'ma have something over your punk ass. Yeah, Jack. Oh, yeah. And you never know when I'm gonna call in this favor, punk. You don't know. But I just want to say, it was my pleasure to help you out. I should probably have not recorded this part because people are going to think that I'm some kind of weirdo, Moving on. Anyway, folks, thanks for listening to the podcast. If you love this podcast, and you do me a favor, please tell friends about the podcast. Spread the word about the podcast. Rate and review this podcast, my friends. And if you love this podcast, check out my other podcast, the S. Anthony Thomas Show, because I have a lot of interviews with really cool people lined up for that show coming up very soon. So subscribe to this podcast. Then go over there to the S. Anthony Thomas Show. Look it up. Subscribe. Actually, I'll probably put the link in the notes. Subscribe to that podcast as well. I'm going to have some really cool stuff over there. And then speaking of cool stuff, you are some cool stuff. You are some cool bastards. Much love to all of you. Thank you for listening, you bastards. Much love to you. And I will see you next time. You dig?